19, and in 1 John, a statement or two statements that were really significant to all of us as people who have been kind of following religious journeys all of our life. In the book of Numbers, it identifies God, and it says God is not a man. And that's something that we haven't really dwelled upon a lot as people and going to church, because we've been praying to a man, and we've been asking a father and all this stuff, and all of a sudden our eyes are drawn to this statement: what you're calling God is not a man, not a human. Not a human. And so then we start thinking, goodness gracious, how do we communicate? And if it's not a human, what is it? So then we look in the New Testament, and it comes back, and he said, God is light. Well, once this is made clear, it opens up a whole new thing about what does light do, how does light impact us, and then we find that NASA puts out a paper we've been studying for several weeks, that they are now developing optical computers, computers run by light, that can do in 1 hour what a computer today would take 11 years to do. And that this light, they have found that in order to make this work, they use membrane, organic tissue, living human tissue. And so now we're reaching the stage of proving the fact that light, God, coming down from above on an angle of light, an angel of light, a messenger particle, or as scientists say, a photon, can actually enter into our bodies and change logic circuits, change the way we think, change the way we feel. So it really becomes a very, very interesting thing. So we started then studying in depth the pineal gland of the brain. And the pineal gland plays a very prominent part in the Bible, because Jesus says, if your eye be single, your body will fill with light, which we now know is God. And then Jacob says, I have seen God face to face, and I'll call the place Pineal. So we have the Old Testament telling us God is not a man. We have the New Testament telling us God is light. We have the New Testament saying, if your eye be single. And we have the Old Testament saying, I've seen God, it's at the pineal. And then we had René Descartes, the 1600s philosopher from France, who tells us that the place where God meets you inside of your body is the pineal gland of the brain. So then we spent a week or two analyzing this pineal gland of the brain, and we found that it is inhibited by light. See, like an animal, like what would you call, like a salamander, or one of these vertebrates that hang out in the swamps and so forth, their pineal gland is open and closed by light or the lack of light. But in a human being, it's attached to your eyes. So you regulate it. It then becomes up to you, see, if you're going to go into a dark place and close your eyes, or if you're going to open your eyes, and in which case the pineal would shut down. In either case, it's going to secrete melatonin at around 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning. So we function with the pineal gland. And what my concern about all of this is this. Okay, we know that light comes down from above on an angle, and it's been doing that for millions of years. And we know that people have been meditating for thousands of years, at least hundreds. And the world's still pretty much of a mess. So what has been missing? What can you do as a human being to place yourself into a harmony with this light? Because we've proved by NASA, in a statement that they said electrons are attracted by photons and vice versa. Well, if a photon is an angle of light from above, God, and if the electron is in the pineal gland and you stimulate that, then you are attracting